our science chats is going to be a very insightful session, and it's a Padmashri award winner, Padmashri Ali Manikfan, who was awarded Padmashri by the Indian government in 2021. He is a famous, we call it this, artist, even a fish named actually, and he was even granted the permission to reconstruct an Arab ship. So let us all welcome Mr. Padmashri Ali Manikfan.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, very happy to introduce you to Luminani. We have a person who has come all the way from Vodicode, Padmashri Ali Manikfan, a very dynamic, multi-talented innovator, and he knows many languages. So, what do you call it? Polyglot. And if you just Google and find out something about him, it will be you will not be sure what is his major areas because he's an expert in so many things. Like he hails from Lakshadweep, Miniko Island, and he is excelled in marine biology, shipbuilding. He has got patent making a moped. It all comes from need. It's very interesting how he does his inventions and innovations. He had the need to travel, to drive, so we studied in detail for 1 year about automobile technology and how it works within. I mean, it's a very good example of tingling quest for knowledge, which we had our young innovators program. It's a major governmental program for promoting school and college students innovations. So those winners were there. I hope some of them were still there. We had a session with them, so they could learn a lot of lessons. What are the tips specific to you? That was my interest primarily. Because innovation is a word very much used nowadays. And even the states realize that for its development, we need an innovation driven component because of the unique challenges that Kerala has. We can't have large manufacturing plants, we cannot have ecological reasons, we cannot have so many things. We are not very rich in mineral resources. So that is why this innovation is being promoted. And at the school level, IAP is what else. Anyway, they won't, because people are waiting to hear from you. Uh, Maybe I'll start asking you, which is your favorite? Do you have a favorite area among your the subjects that you have every day? But let's start with marine biology, the fish around the literally ocean that was named as like all those things. You work for the Marine Fisheries Institute, point.
I am very happy to be here to interact with you. I come from Manikoi Island. Here, in a way, Manikoi Islands is in Lakshadweep. It is in between Maldives and Lakshadweep. Manikoi is separated from both these Maldives and Lakshadweep. Maybe so 200 kilometers. So Manikoi was a room in those days when I was there in my boyhood. I was born in 1938. At that time, the population of Medicor was about 3,000 and 4,000. Now it is about 12,000. And so in those days, the literacy was very poor. But now it is not like that. Now people are actually, they are educated, they know many languages. Our language is Maldivian, a language of Maldives. It is related. We don't have any connection there. But now, in all the islands of Lakshadweep, people wonder than normal now. And even more Minihoi language is learned by other not deviants because they are close. We are traveling. But in those days, Minikoi was not connected at all. I remember, and my boy, some roads get strayed from Ratali and losing the way, they reach Minikoi because Minikoi has a lighthouse which is seen, the lighthouse which is seen for about 40 miles. So they used to come to our land and then remain with us. Their language, their culture, everything was different from ours. Miko is entirely different. We belong to Maldivian group, but we are not Maldivians. We were separated long before, during the, I don't know, many thousands of years. Miko was separated from other islands. So, but now today, we are included in Lakshadweep on the island. That is in 1956 when the states of Kerala was on age. At that time, this our Lakshadweep also all these islands are included. We are on 10 islands, populated islands. Lakshadweep has about 36 islands, of which only 10 islands are populated. So it is like that we are really there separately according to our own culture and government that wants to protect our culture, our language and everything. So we are not disturbed at all. We are very happy. We will live in there. And Minikor is the only island in Literary group who were catching the tuna. Tuna fishery is a very interesting type of fishery. I think it is developed by the Maldivians because I know that during the time of Sri Ramundi, he wanted that Minicoy Island should be trained to catch tuna fish. So he brought from tuna fishing experts from Japan. They came there. But when they went with our Minicoy people to catch tuna, Minicoy people could catch 10 tuna, well, these people could catch only one. The thing is, the Japanese people, they have which has got the barrel, but our people have a hook, which is just a hook. So it need not be used. It will just fall. When you leave it, it will fall on the board. But these people, they catch it and then because barrel is there, it won't get released. So they have catch it around and then they have one leather here and then catch the tuna and then remove it. By this time, our military will catch around 20 tuna. Because tuna is a fish which is cooling, it will be very voracious when we are giving the bait fish. Tuna fishing is very interesting. You will have seen it in videos. It's a very interesting type of fishing. And first what they do is one day before itself, they will collect the vein fish, small fishes, separately. They keep it in the lagoon in baskets, LI. The next day when they are going for fishing, they will transport it to the boat. The boat has got arrangement. What is that creation arrangement? And these small fishes, bait fishes, they will remain alive quite dry. They go out from the lagoon. This tuna will not come into the lagoon. Very rarely it comes into the lagoon when some big fish, some shark or something chase it. Once I go to the lighthouse, lighthouse is 5 kilometers away from the populated area of Medical. I used to go to lighthouses, my boyhood. I wanted to learn their language, English, and all these things from them. So I used to go to lighthouse every day I had a bicycle. At that time, Nico only 3 bicycles were there. But now, Nico had bicycles and those days, I had one cycle and other two were some cycles. Only 3 cycles were there in Nico. So one day, I was going to the lighthouse early in the morning. Lighthouse is near the seashore, the way is going. I saw something running in this shallow area where the sea grasses has grown. I got water till and I kept a cycle and got out into the sea and tasted this fish. This fish was running about in the dark as the grass is grown. The other place is having white land. It is not going there. So this fish was running this way and that way. Their boat is a temporary take or board. Their boat is built in the older way that is daily 9 square road. And they apply the fish oil in there. So their boat is not suitable for keeping the live bait alive. So they have to be developed that boat and they are top weight. And now in on the island of the Branchadi, they are catching this tuna fish. It is a very is measure fish which they catch it and develop it. It is dried and sent to Singapore, Malaysia, and all these places. It is, I think you would have seen, it is called in our language, Mars fish. So this is how we were living in those days. In those days, the people are very coy. I told you they were not literate. They don't know how to read and write. Only about 20 people, in those days have to read and write. But they were building boats, they were building houses, they know empty. They do not calculate, but in the mind they have got how to build the boat. They just build it and then be perfect. So this is how the people of Minikoi were living. Now in Minikoi, all the people are educated. The 100% literacy is there. They know Malayalam, English, Hindi, and our language is multiple language. That is how our life was doing up. So this verse I would like to conclude. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So we got an insight into about your curiosity led to learning so many things. Shipbuilding, as we mentioned, and in fact, he actually built a ship or some technology from Oman. Was it? In the past, there was like religions, Yes, yeah, yeah. And then you mentioned about English. What you ended up mastering 15 languages. So you can read and write in all those languages. You can read and write to 15 languages. Yes, you were mentioning somewhere that the root is important, like Latin, Sanskrit, and Arabic, if you know. Some related languages will get level. But then university, and very interestingly, some of you may know, he was sent to school in Kant, but at the 7th standard, he decided that this is not going to serve any purpose. I have a little bigger things to do. Stop and dropped out at that point and started self-teaching and became expert in so many things. So ecology, and he advised the calendar, was that. So, a lot of interesting things. I think it's very, very. I mean, we used to should study is that time you and is an example of high thinking and simple living. You would say what Vivekananda or sometimes you think of Tagore, the way he did education and learning. Now, what I would like is to address some for you to address some questions like innovation. Does that happen in groups or is it a solo activity?
You see, we are human beings. We are not like other creatures. See, other creature, like monkey or any other thing, they live as they were living the brainless sense. But man is not like that. Man also, for in those days, living in caves and trees and all, even in our island, people had some caves to go and remain. But now people have learned so many things because God has given this advantage, thinking power and working power. They can make things. Other creatures, they are not able to do that. They don't make anything. The monkey has got the hand and he can do so many things. And he can learn some things also. You have seen monkey peeling the banana and eating it. It- He just find it very like to do it like that. See the fact we do it like that. He has imitated them. So imitation. Ours, that also is imitational. We imitate and learn and then proceed. So there is like that. People have gone so far. Now you see we have been doing so many things. We are exploring the outside the earth also. Been doing so many things. We have to do so many things, but this is not done because of so many problems. Our knowledge is not progressing, but we have to build so many things we are capable.
So this celebration is about skilling. Skill is the focus here. How do you see this acquisition of skills in the larger context of knowledge? Should people be now what kind of skills? Basic question. What kind of skills should this generation have essentially in order to become good?
Our education should be so that they are able to use it. Now we say that we are civilized and educated and all, but we hear people killing each other. One another they are killing. This is not in our Manikoi island. I can say that if you see the history of Manikoi, they never raised the hand. They may raise the voice, but never hand. They never beat each other. They have developed this culture because they are learning and they know that what had happened, they start beating each other. So they have developed this habit and even today they will not be fighting in America. We had no police at all till 1956. And even though we don't need police, but because they will that people came there they wanted to give job to some people. They introduced police. Yeah, we have so many policemen there. Police is not necessary at all. So in those days, how we were traveling, we had to come to the mainland to get those things. Engines were not in use in those days. It was invented, but still it was not used. We were using the wind power to reach the mainland. We used to come to Calicut, Caramel, etc. by saying this will take sometimes 7 days, sometimes 20 days also. But during good days, we can reach within 1 or 2 days also. There are occasions when also reached in 24 hours. That's a very good speed, very high wind. But usually there will be so much favorable wind, and it will take 3 days, 7 days, sometimes 20 days also. I have done many voyages, and during that time also, every time I do something I want to learn. Even now I am continuing that process. I want to learn each and everything. It's on my an instinct. So like that, I have made so many voyages. I have learned navigation at the time. Navigation means it should know the movements of these sun, moon, and stars and all. So those days it was very clear sky. Now we don't have this clear sky. You don't see the star. In those days when I used to come to Calicut, I can see the pole star. But pole star I can't see nowadays. Nothing is seen nowadays. You can see the sky, but very rare places. Very rarely we see this stuff. We don't see this stuff because this we have done so much pollution and all this fog, this smoke is left in the atmosphere, and pollution is controlled. We can continue. We can control this pollution. This smoke should not be left to the atmosphere. It should be They are trapped somehow and then should not be allowed to go to the atmosphere or pollute the place. But people are doing all that. People are interested in their own affairs and they are not ready to do anything other. Please, they're in nature. But nature is something strange. It will keep itself. If you do something wrong, it will have its effect and then it will do the devastation. The storms, this and that will come. And people will be said, right, okay, help. If you want to know more things, you can ask us.
Yeah, yeah. So, very important point, sir mentioned that life is a continuous journey of learning for everyone. I mean, you need to continuously learn, skill, and adapt, etc. And you might take special note of its concern for nature and climate change, pollution, and start to talk about how people take advance even after all these so-called civilization and education people often kill each other, those kind of things. So it's that concern, therefore, the humane concern is what keeps him um, going as a continuous incubator. Now, we'll take some questions. So I think that will be the, some order also.
Hello, Subhair. It's nice to have this out here. This is nothing about innovations, since you have gotten a much experience with water and just asking out of curiosity. And I'm also working on water and how human beings are interacting with water. So that's what actually the area where I'm working on in my PhD thesis. So out of curiosity, I'm asking this question, sir. Since you have got connection with seawater and seawater life, I just want to know your take on how people, those who are living in islands, connected with seawater.
How people in the island connected.
Seawater. Just to know his take also.
As he is having a research on seawater, wanted to know about your take on how people in the island actually,
I mean, any island,
any island, how
they connected with each other. How live is defined.
You see, actually, the islands are surrounded by sea. Island is very small. What you see, the nature is so kind that in those very rich and able creature. They are life real. Water is available because it is rain. This rain water is collected in the land, and it will remain like that. During the tidal action, this tide is there into rise and go now. What happens is there is fresh water is lighter than the sea water, so it is floating above the sea water. So in the land also, below there is sea water, but up there is this fresh water which is provided by the rain. What happens is this water is collected in pits and it is floating on the seawater below. When during tide, the seawater rises and it goes down. This time what happens is in the land also this water will rise and go down. At this time what happens is this seawater below comes up and then it goes down, the fresh water goes down with the seawater and it goes in the area where the seawater has left some soil. So this fresh water gets diluted with the seawater and then it will become saltish day by day. But nature is so kind that it provides rain. When the rain comes again, this water gets this correct content of this drinking water. So the islanders, they give the water. There's no problem at all. We can manage without any this seawater. It's saline water making into sea fresh water. But type writing is not necessarily a wrong. Nature is providing the requirement on the paper if they know how to manage anyway.
So, can I ask one more question with that? I'm interested. So, in connection with that, I'm just asking you, do you have any traditional, culturally connected traditional methodology for saving water?
Any traditional method, indigenous method for seawater purification?
So saving water. He told that they are saving water, rainwater. So it is for regulatory for Eastern indigenous method.
This special,
I know
yeah, how does he get?
I wrote that if you make pitch about about 2 feet, not more than 2 feet, in the upper sea level, this first water level. If you wait like that, this water which is provided by rain will keep the fresh water always. But if you don't have these pits, and then this fresh water will not be in the land. I have seen some islands where there are no beach and fresh water is not available there. That's a very forest. That's why there is no fresh water because there are no pits there. If you make dig and make the pits, this water will be collected, fresh water will be collected when it rains. And this is fresh water is always available. There's no need for us to make fresh water. These are unnecessary methods in curiosities and not necessary at all. Because the people who come from mainland, they don't know about the island when they are living in the mainland. Which is quite different. They are coming from lots of say they have never seen that such people are like familiar as administrators and officers and they don't know the island this much uh, conditions. So they think that the islanders will not have fresh water. But we will have fresh water. Sometime when I was there in Vancouver, I was working as a cleric at that time some health inspectors came and there were so many pits there. These pits were made for soaking this coconut husk. And there were so many ponds out there for the necessity of the people for bathing and for other use. He told that these open waters are breeding mosquitoes, so you have to close it. So in some islands, so many kids were lost, and the fresh water content was reduced because there is no storage. When there is no pit, when rains, rainwater go back into the sea above the sea or below. So it will go up to the sea, it won't remain. But if you make these pits, enough pits and make the ponds, there will be fresh water. We need not make pressure.
That gives us back, yeah.
So, since you said that you mean to minimize this, can I ask you about Majani? A journey which you travel on the bicycle, that is a motorcycle or a bicycle with your son from Tamil Nadu to New Delhi. Can you share with us what made you make such a motorcycle?
It was my son who wanted a motorbike. I said motorbike is very difficult for her to get it and we don't have proper works over here. So I will do something, I will hit an engine for your siphon so that you can ride with it. So I purchased one small engine, that is the engine which is used in for spraying the chemicals in the fields. There is a small engine which is kept on the back and is spraying seed. So I got such an engine and made the roller brake cycle. That is, we attach the roller on that engine and then it is connected directly to the tire. Just as a dynamo is rotated when it is cycled. Here, this when the motor is rotating this rotator, we locate the wheel and the frame. So we wanted to experiment how efficient it is. So simply riding here and wasting the petrol. And it's not useful I thought. I thought we will plan voyage to Moscow. We will go bicycling this cycle we go. But you see, when we wanted to go, the way was not clear honestly. We have to cross Pakistan. Pakistan, there was a got a line from India to winter. I wrote to them, and they said that you really and with you, we let you enter, but you have to go through the same way you coming in. So that means we cannot cross. So I developed the idea and he planned a journey to Delhi and stuff like that. I and my son go to travel in this like you and we did it in it was not there in our place. This morning about some water resident in the evening for the light after me well. Floating, you go and see the place and to village life and all this thing. So it took about 45 days to go to Dane and return back. While returning, we returned through Bombay. People come up to Bombay all the time. This rain has started, and then from there, I booked the cycle in the train and came by train from Bombay to this London. This one is 92. I this another house girl. There was a trend that he's doing voyage in writings. Name is no more one. He's Tim Severity. So he did one voyage first. That was the Brenda voyage. And Brenda, those days before Columbus reached the Americas, fierce and Brenda escaped and went to America. We done love. Yeah, there was a point in which this Kim Severin had learned to the school. It was a Latin poet. So people were not being there. They were telling that how can this skin go just top by them is even remain with the sea water for such a long time. And this he take away them to a so they will not be in. But still they were in truth. Experiment and find out the truth about it. So we and his fellows, four fellows together, they made this skin boat. They made the this harry with the dot and covered it with the skin in this coconut in this cow fire. And then they traveled to America from London. So he proved that the skin can be made on the sent Brenda away to Australia.
So it's all through doing and experiencing, learning through experience. That's what. How do you summarize your career and experience? There be something like that.
My father in the army and the Afghanistan means the chief there, the island. At the time we had only 4,000 population. Now it is about 12,000. So in those days, there were no policemen, nothing. Only two peons were them to help. So he wanted me to learn. He sent me to Kanano. In those days, we don't have any facility like customs and all fixing. We have to stay in somebody's house and then go to school. That is how I came to Kanano for my studies. I joined in the 5th standard and then I studied up to 7th standard. After that, I was reading at the time English and all this thing I can understand it. See, so I thought, what is the use of this so terrible man? And I think I don't want any certificate. I will go back to my island and learn. Like that, I wrote so many books and learned through books. Yeah, I want to. Our people are sailors since long time. They are sailing. I mean, the days of sailing vessels also, our people were renowned sailors. They go to Falkatram and they get into the sailing vessel and they cargo vessel. They go here and there and finally they return to their island where they got. So now also so many sailors are talking about talking about 3,000 Miko and sorting into ships. The best sailors they say. No, I wanted to go as a sailor. So I went to Calcutta and I underwent the training in the how to work in this as a sailor, and it is about 6 months of training underwent that. And I was waiting at least remaining there in America. At that time, what happened to all, he had a small pox. It was not a small pox, but chicken pox. I got it. And then I was suffering from not pain. I don't want this. I need to turn back. I then returned back to the island. I need to continue my studies and all this thing. Then we have some government offices there, lighthouse is there, royalism there, and observatory is there. I go in all those places, not for money, just for learning. So in the observatory, we have this is the balloon flight. We made the weak balloon that will be hunting this roof like so big. He fill it with hydrogen. So I know everything at the existed there. So we made the hydrogen that it cost a soda and some this thing is there. Or is there the reactor or the we stay in there and we put it all. That goes it in shape. This is in the is a hydrogen will be generated. And with balloon, hydrogen and the balloon is left. Balloon be left and then observer here at the walking through the electoral or theodolite. They look through that and then see where all the balloon is going. You see the balloon, it goes at certain level, at certain position sides. So temperature was straight up, and then if you go to the bus, and then the other direction, and they take the reading for about 2 hours, and then this message is done how to transmit to Canada. Is for aviation purpose, and then we are in weather forecast. Also, all this is done by observing this weather patterns and the rain and all this. This is done with the observatory. There was an observatory there in Bilico.
Yeah.
Where also I learned that I can just
We have had some courses, some training, which is specifically to your knee interest areas, even though the normal education was left at some setting.
Yes, but I can tell you some study. I have the books and I have the people also to teach you. In those days, I learned the stars when I even go to those observatory. They were American the stars. So I know really stars, and then but today, okay, cannot see the star at the top. They can see it. They remember it. Okay, stars. Yeah.
Oh, you want to hear the beam you're jumping and you want to calendar. Well, and then the kind of what am I striking? Advantage of this kind of drama.
Specifically about the Jula calendar that you demise, and what is the advantage of that over the other calendar?
The lunar calendar is the correct natural calendar. See, sun shows the time that is day and night is shown by the sun. So we know the days by that, and then the month is controlled by the moon. Lunar is the month. Then people have were using the in all the places. See the time of Julius Caesar. At the time of Caesar, all the Christians were there, and the Jews were there. They were all using this lunar calendar. The trouble was these people cannot fix the date. They want to see the movie, and they are playing on the flower in parenthesia. Actually, it is not like that. This normally the amount of normal station view. We have the data on the Newton. Those days after the he goes document this the calendar. They are very old it is. At the time they knew this. But the people later they were not using this calendar. Somehow this English contact in maybe when the Europeans came here, they introduced this our Christian and that is the Julian calendar. Julian calendar then it became Gregorian calendar. It's a Julian calendar by 1580 or so. Pope Gregory Stein. He found that there are some defect in the calendar. He think 10 days are increased in the calendar. Oh, this calendar is not correct. He said you have to correct it. So the 10 days I went about the calendar and then with the spiritual calendar. And then
apa yang ada jiwa kemudian bayi turn bayi itu macam prophet pada Malayland.
is it for different? Say to not 155 what now? We are thinking 365.25. Actually, where is not there? It is too poor to media. Therefore, is
Bapak yang sedikit yang mana walat.
and then when it comes in many days. That is how it is increasing. So it's not a correct calendar. Correct calendar is the lunar calendar. In lunar calendar, if you take your date and calculate, you will see that we will get the correct number of days. See, even started in history. There was the solar eclipse on 27,632 in. And you calculate the number of days from that calendar to this day, you will not get the correct number of days. So this calendar we are using is not correct, but we are using it. So it's lengthy. It's not correct.
Yeah. We're conditioned to living with this generalized calendar. Hopefully you take. So any other questions? Are you on next? So you're okay with that? So you got your answer?
Yeah.
Already there was a bit of a delay. Apologies for that. So we kept you waiting. If you like periodic, including remarks or annoyism.
Yes, we are animals, unlike other creatures. So we must be very careful. We are also in the biological chain. We are not separate from this nature. So what we should do is we should not disturb the nature too much. It is not correct at all. We have to limit our uses and then keep with nature. That's my advice.